really like pisses me off when people are like, she's not the face of the league.
Who would be?
What?
The basketball world is buzzing after Caitlin Clark pulled off a move no one saw coming, securing a jaw-dropping $25 million deal with Nike.
Well, Caitlin Clark could be breaking another record, this time with an endorsement deal. The Associated Press says Clark will soon be signing an 8-year, $28 million contract with Nike.
This record-breaking contract has not only cemented her as one of the sport's brightest stars, but also sent shockwaves through the WNBA.
Here's Clark. She fires and goes! She hit it! Wow!
But Sophie Cunningham's reaction was pure disbelief. Whispers of envy ripple through the league. From rookie sensation to marketing powerhouse, Clark's rise is rewriting the rules for women's basketball. This isn't just a payday, it's a power move. Here's how Caitlyn stunned everyone, on and off the court. Stay glued. How Caitlin Clark used her $25 million deal to rewrite WNBA loyalty. Caitlin Clark just rewrote the playbook for what it means to be a star in the WNBA. In only a few months of her rookie season, she inked a jaw-dropping $25 million deal with Nike, a figure that not only shattered the league's sneaker contract records, but also outshone the earnings of some seasoned NBA veterans. For most athletes, that milestone alone would be enough to dominate headlines for weeks. But Caitlin wasn't interested in just making history. She wanted to make a statement. What happened next wasn't about money, fame, or even the launch of her very own signature shoe line, though that in itself is monumental.
Get the next signature shoe in the W.
Oh, Caitlyn, of course. Yeah, I mean, I know she has some
like PEs.
Yeah, PEs, little colorways, but you could do that on Nike ID. I mean, the next Caitlyn shoe should be the next one, and my kids will be wearing it.
The real shock came from what she chose to do after signing the deal, and it had nothing to do with herself. Days later, Caitlyn invited her teammate Sophie Cunningham to what appeared to be a small, private Nike event in Indianapolis. Sophie assumed it was nothing more than a casual brand celebration, maybe a photo shoot, maybe a media day. She had no idea she was about to step into one of the most unforgettable moments in WNBA history. The lights dimmed. A hush fell over the room. Then, a short film lit up the giant screen, tracing Caitlyn's journey from her high school days in Iowa to the roaring, pressure-packed arenas of the WNBA. The footage didn't shy away from the struggles, the bruising criticism, the relentless doubters, the mental battles off the court. But it also highlighted the moments that made her unstoppable. Buzzer-beating shots, record-breaking crowds, and the unwavering support from those who stood by her when the noise got loud.
Story on women's college basketball.
She's going for history!
When the video faded, Nike representatives stepped forward, presenting Caitlyn with a gold-stitched jersey, an honor usually reserved for legends of the game. The room expected her to claim the moment as her own. Instead, Caitlyn turned to Sophie, her voice carrying a quiet conviction. This isn't just for me. This is for every woman who shows up, fights hard, and protects her team. It wasn't just a symbolic gesture. Moments later, a custom shoebox was brought out, revealing a pair of Sophie Cunningham Player Edition sneakers designed in Indiana Fever colors with the words, "No backing down," stitched proudly on the heel. But there was something else inside that box, a contract. Not a gift from Nike, but a deal Caitlyn had personally negotiated as part of her endorsement terms. She had used her influence to ensure Sophie received her brand deal under the Nike umbrella. This was no ordinary act of generosity. It was a calculated move that defied the cutthroat nature of professional sports. In a league where every contract, every bit of screen time, and every drop of public attention is hard-fought, Caitlyn's decision stood out. It wasn't just about rewarding loyalty, it was about rewriting the culture of competition into one of solidarity. She had not forgotten the people who defended her when the spotlight burned brightest, who stood beside her in the face of critics, who shared in both the triumphs and the trials. In a world where stardom often demands a solo spotlight, Caitlyn chose to share hers, deliberately, unapologetically, and with the kind of quiet power that speaks louder than any press release. And that brings us to the question burning in everyone's mind, the reason she took Sophie among the team. Was it strategy, sentiment, or something far deeper that no one has yet uncovered? Stay tuned. Loyalty over hype. Why Clark chose Sophie Cunningham. When Caitlin Clark first stepped into the WNBA, the welcome wasn't exactly a parade. She wasn't just walking into a new league. She was walking into a storm. Cameras followed her every step, critics circled like sharks, and on the court, she was met with a physicality that bordered on hostile. Players like Angel Reese and Dijonay Carrington made it their mission to challenge her presence, sometimes with words, other times with hard contact. The pressure was relentless, the expectations towering, and the spotlight blinding. Yet, in the middle of that chaos, one teammate emerged as her quiet shield, Sophie Cunningham. Sophie didn't just play alongside Clark, she played for her. She was the one stepping into confrontations, taking the fouls that might have sidelined Clark, and making it crystal clear to the rest of the league. If the refs weren't going to protect her teammate, Sophie would. She didn't cross the line into recklessness, but her message was loud enough to be heard from the front row to the nosebleeds. In many ways, Sophie became Clark's enforcer, the one who absorbed the heat so Caitlyn could stay locked in on the rim. Clark never forgot that. And when the moment came to acknowledge that loyalty, she didn't hand the job to a PR team or craft some safe, rehearsed tribute. This wasn't marketing. It was personal. It was about rewriting what loyalty and power looked like in women's sports. The league called Clark its golden goose, the player to protect at all costs. But Nike saw something deeper. They weren't just paying for her jump shot. They were investing in her story, her influence, her ability to move people both inside and outside the arena. Caitlin Clark wasn't simply a stat sheet stuffer. She was a record breaker, an arena filler, a quiet leader who could shake an entire culture without needing to say much at all. That's why Nike didn't just beat Adidas, Puma, and Under Armour for her signature. They crushed them. The $25 million contract wasn't just a bet on her game. It was a bet on her vision. And perhaps her most surprising play was about to happen off the court. The stage was set. Cameras, cheers, energy flooding the room. Nike handed Clark a breathtaking gold-stitched jersey, a custom masterpiece that looked like it belonged in a Hall of Fame display. The crowd expected her to slip it on, smile for the cameras, and cement the moment. Instead, she held it in her hands, paused, and turned to Sophie Cunningham. "This isn't just for me," she said, her voice calm but loaded with weight. "This is for every woman who shows up, fights hard, and protects her team. Let that marinate." Then, in a move that caught even Sophie off guard, Clark reached into a display case and pulled out a box. Inside was a pair of custom Sophie Cunningham player-exclusive sneakers, decked in fever colors, with one unmissable detail: the words "No backing down" stitched on the heel. It was more than a gift. It was a statement. But Clark wasn't finished. Lying next to the sneakers was a contract, a real one, that officially brought Sophie into the Nike family under Caitlin's endorsement umbrella. It wasn't a casual shout-out, not just a cosign. This was a business move, a deliberate decision to use her platform to elevate the teammate who had stood by her when the league seemed determined to test her limits. And in that instant, the room wasn't just witnessing sports history. It was watching the definition of leadership evolve in real time. Which brings us to Sophie's emotional reaction. How did she respond to loyalty that turns into a life-changing gift that no one saw coming? Keep watching. Sophie Cunningham's tearful shock at Caitlin Clark's game-changing Nike move. Sophie Cunningham didn't just cry that day, she was floored. The shock on her face wasn't the kind you fake for the cameras. It was the raw, overwhelming moment you get when someone finally notices all the things you've been doing quietly, without applause, and decides the world needs to see it too. She wasn't expecting this. She wasn't chasing recognition, but Caitlin Clark made sure she got it anyway. You see, people might wonder, why Sophie? Why would the biggest rookie in the WNBA, fresh off a record-smashing $25 million Nike deal, use her first major endorsement moment to shine a light on someone else? The answer isn't just about friendship. It's about loyalty, carved out in sweat, bruises, and unspoken understanding. Sophie is that teammate every superstar hopes to have, but few get. The one who throws herself into the middle of heated scuffles. The one who calls out reporters for crossing lines. The one who takes hits the cameras miss just to make sure Caitlyn doesn't end up on the hardwood again. If you've been paying attention to Indiana Fever games this season, you've seen it. Her shadowing Caitlyn like an unassigned bodyguard, making it clear to anyone who dared, if the refs won't step in, she will. Her protection wasn't subtle. Sometimes it meant crashing into opponents, throwing her body into the chaos just to keep her rookie upright. There were moments, clear as day, where she became Caitlyn's muscle, her quiet enforcer, her "don't mess with my teammate" warning in sneakers. And yet, Sophie never asked for a headline, never turned it into a social media moment, never sought credit. But Caitlyn saw it. She saw the sacrifices, the fouls taken on her behalf, the silent battles fought when no one was watching. And in that Nike event, she decided the world would see it too. In front of brand executives, media, and teammates, Caitlyn declared, "People talk about the plays I make, but Sophie makes the plays no one sees." Then came the reveal. A custom pair of Sophie Cunningham Player Edition sneakers in fever colors, stitched with the phrase, "No backing down," and a contract slipped inside the box. This wasn't just a symbolic gift, it was a business move. Caitlyn had negotiated Sophie into the Nike family under her deal, a move unheard of in WNBA history. This was bigger than two players and a pair of shoes. Rookies land endorsement deals all the time. Veterans cash in, but no one, rookie or otherwise, had ever taken a groundbreaking personal contract and used it to pull another player into the spotlight. Caitlyn didn't flex her power by taking more for herself. She flexed it by giving more to someone else. And the effect was instant. The Fever locker room shifted. Younger players suddenly saw what loyalty in action looks like. Veterans started rethinking what it means to use your platform beyond personal gain. Even rivals admitted it was the kind of recognition most players never experience in their entire careers. This wasn't just a gesture, it was a reset button on the culture of competition in women's sports. No marketing spin, no ego, just one player using her moment to repay another's silent devotion. In the WNBA, where every inch of spotlight is fought for, this was nothing short of revolutionary. But that's only part of the story. What about why Nike chose Caitlyn and their next move? Could the brand be setting the stage for something even bigger? Let's find out. Why Nike bet big on Caitlyn Clark and what's coming next. $25 million is a massive paycheck, but what Caitlyn Clark chose to do with it, that's the part you can't put a price on. Caitlyn hasn't just been playing basketball, she's been rewriting the entire atmosphere of the WNBA. Since stepping in, she's become the face of a league that once struggled for consistent attention, sparking new energy, fresh rivalries, and sold-out arenas. And now, for a deal worth a reported $25 million with Nike, she's proving she's not just cashing in on her talent, she's cashing in on her values. Nike didn't sign Caitlyn Clark for her jump shot alone. Sure, she can sink logo threes from what feels like another zip code, but the swoosh saw something much bigger. They saw a cultural shift wrapped in a rookie jersey, a young player unafraid to lead with loyalty in a league full of politics, pressure, and big personalities. They weren't just buying a scorer, they were investing in a leader who could shape the game far beyond the court. And then came the deal-breaking twist. What rookie in any professional sport stares down $1 billion brand and says, "I'll sign, but I'm bringing my teammate with me"? That's exactly what Clark did. She told Nike straight up, "If I'm going to wear your logo, I want Sophie Cunningham in this too." Nike didn't hesitate. They embraced it. Not as a favor, but as a marketing masterstroke. Because loyalty sells, sisterhood sells, and authenticity, that's gold in a sports industry drowning in fake PR smiles and empty slogans. From that moment, this wasn't just a contract, it was a movement. Nike's creative team went into overdrive. They started building a built-for-each-other campaign around Caitlyn and Sophie, highlighting grit, trust, and the unbreakable bond between teammates. There will be commercials, behind-the-scenes footage, and a line of merch that means something. You won't just be buying sneakers, you'll be buying into a story of real loyalty and shared success. And the sneakers? They're already historic. For the first time in WNBA history, a player's shoe release will be directly tied to a teammate's endorsement deal. The Sophie player exclusive sneakers are drenched in Indiana Fever colors with the words, "No backing down," stitched into the heel like a battle cry. Fans will clear shelves the second they hit stores. But Caitlin's vision goes deeper than footwear and ad campaigns. She's using her deal to build something lasting, a mentorship program for young girls in underfunded communities. Many of these girls love basketball, but don't have access to proper courts, trained coaches, or even safe spaces to play. And this isn't a quick, publicity-friendly charity stunt. Caitlyns has been working on this quietly for months, ensuring it will be sustainable, local, and deeply personal. The plan includes free clinics, professional-level training sessions, gear drops, and, most importantly, one-on-one guidance from WNBA athletes, including herself and Sophie. It's about creating pathways for the next generation, not just showing up for a photo op. This is the side of Caitlin Clark that rarely makes the headlines. She's not only orchestrating plays on the court, she's orchestrating change off of it. She's leveraging her fame, her influence, and yes, her $25 million deal to make sure success doesn't just stop with her. And that's the magic of Caitlin Clark. She understands that being a star is about more than shining alone. Which brings us to Caitlin Clark's history of uplifting teammates. But what hidden moments from her past reveal this loyalty isn't new at all? Let's break it down for you. Caitlin Clark's history of uplifting teammates. Caitlin Clark's entrance into the WNBA hasn't just been about record-breaking stats, sellout arenas, or skyrocketing viewership. It's also shown a bright light on how she treats the people around her. While her shooting range, court vision, and leadership often dominate headlines, there's another side to her that fans are starting to notice. Her genuine way of giving credit where it's due. And no teammate better reflects this than the Indiana Fever's Sophie Cunningham. One of the clearest examples of Clark's appreciation for Sophie came after a gritty showdown against the Atlanta Dream. That night, Sophie delivered a season-high double-double, 16 points and 10 rebounds, while playing with the kind of relentless energy that can turn a game's tide. Instead of posting her highlights or basking in personal glory, Clark went to Instagram and shared the Fever's highlight reel of Sophie's performance. Her caption, just one word: dog. To the casual fan, that might seem throwaway. But in basketball culture, calling someone a dog is no small thing. It's the ultimate badge of respect, a way of saying you've got that fire, that grit, that unstoppable drive. Coming from Clark, it was her way of telling Sophie, "You brought it tonight, and I see every bit of it." But Clark's support for Sophie doesn't just show up after big games or stat-heavy nights. It's laced into the everyday moments, often with a healthy dose of humor. Like when Sophie and fellow teammate Lexi Hull posted a TikTok lounging by the pool in swimsuits. Clark couldn't resist chiming in with a cheeky comment that swimsuit brands should remind them to focus on basketball. It was playful, lighthearted, and showed a deeper truth, that their connection goes beyond game plans and practice drills. This friendship isn't one-sided. Sophie has been one of Clark's loudest and most passionate defenders since her rookie season tipped off. In one now viral moment, Sophie bluntly shut down critics who doubted Clark's impact on the league, calling such opinions completely ridiculous.
It really pisses me off when people are like, she's not the face of the league.
Who would be?
What?
Sabrina? No.
She didn't just talk about Clark's points or assists. She spoke about her influence, how she's boosted ticket sales, spiked TV ratings, and brought unprecedented attention to the WNBA. It wasn't PR speak. It was a teammate throwing herself between Clark and the noise. This back and forth of public praise and loyalty says something important about winning teams. Chemistry matters. Yes, talent wins games, but trust wins championships. Clark's ability to recognize Sophie's value, whether through a single word online, a mention in an interview, or a lighthearted roast, shows she understands the power of lifting others. It also makes her stand out in a league where the race to build a personal brand can sometimes overshadow the team story. Post-game, Clark rarely talks only about her numbers. She's quick to shout out teammates for hustle plays, defensive stops, or the kind of effort that doesn't make highlight reels but turns the momentum in a team's favor. That's especially meaningful for players like Sophie, whose worth isn't always captured in box scores. She's the spark plug, the energy provider, the vocal leader, the one making sure no one's focus drifts when the game gets messy. Clark doesn't just notice it, she broadcasts it. And Sophie returns the favor in the ways that matter most. She's the first to step in when Clark takes too many hits on the court, the one challenging unfair narratives in the media, the teammate who'll carry the weight so Clark can keep doing what she does best. For a Fever team still navigating ups and downs, this mutual respect might be the invisible thread holding everything together. It tells fans that the hype around Caitlin Clark isn't just about points and sponsorships. It's about the kind of player who shares her spotlight and protects her people. It's also the kind of dynamic that could shift the culture of the WNBA. Fans don't just want elite players. They want role models who are relatable, loyal, and genuine. Clark and Cunningham's visible bond sends that message loud and clear. Success here isn't just about scoring. It's about standing side by side when it counts most. And the longer Caitlyn keeps mixing praise, humor, and humility, the more she cements herself not just as a superstar, but as the kind of teammate everyone wishes they had. That kind of loyalty is rare in pro sports, but for Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham, it's bigger than basketball. It's about always having each other's backs. If this move shook the league, what's the next one to change it forever? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and sub.